accredited and provides free consulting, business education training, and technical assistance. Attend workshops with subject matter experts from both the public and private sector. From idea generation to exit strategies, the staff at the VISBDC is ready to assist you. Now is the time to contact them, so don't wait. Call or email them to find out how they can help your business grow and succeed.
¿Su negocio ha sido afectado por COVID-19? El Centro de Desarrollo de Pequeñas Empresas está disponible para ayudar a los empresarios en las Islas Vírgenes de los Estados Unidos. El VISBDC es sostenido por la Universidad de las Islas Vírgenes y la Administración de Pequeñas Empresas de los Estados Unidos para apoyar a la comunidad de negocios pequeños. El VISBDC está acreditado a nivel nacional y ofrece consultoría gratuita, educación empresarial y asistencia técnica. Asiste a talleres con expertos en la materia, tanto del sector público como del privado. Desde generaciones de ideas hasta estrategia de salida, el personal del VISBDC está listo para ayudarlo. Ahora es el momento de contactarlos si necesita ayuda. Llame o envíe un correo electrónico para averiguar cómo puede ayudar a que su negocio crezca y tenga éxito.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the VISBDC Lunch and Learn webinar series with the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority. My name is Mary Jo Williams. I am the Network Training Coordinator for the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center, and I will be your facilitator and moderator for today's session. Today's session is being recorded and is also being live on Facebook. So you can watch it at a later time and you can review it for details. Today's presenter is Ms. Monique Samuel, and I will give you a little bit of Ms. Samuel's bio. Ms. Samuel has dedicated 18 years to the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority's Economic Development Bank. She currently serves as a managing director of the Economic Development Bank. She is a proactive leader who has dedicated her career to building transparent relationships that ultimately help businesses identify positive financial solutions that fit their needs. Ms. Samuel's responsibilities include assessing and improving the customer experience, managing the risk of the loan portfolio, managing a team of 4 employees, establishing new leads, partnering with public and private organizations, stakeholders to fulfill the mission goals, analyzing loan requests, providing oversight of the incubator program, and leading the development of the entrepreneurial opportunities for businesses operating throughout the territory. Ms. Samuels holds a Master of Business Administration and Management, a Bachelor of Business Administration with a specialization in General Business Administration, and an Associate of Business Administration with a concentration in business, all attained at the American Intercontinental University. Additionally, Ms. Samuel is a certified public manager attained through the University of the Virgin Islands. Without any further delay, I present to you Ms. Monique Samuel.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Actually, I do apologize. Good afternoon. I guess we've been at this, Mary Jo, since this morning. And so, as Mary Jo introduced, I am Monique Samuel, the Managing Director for the Economic Development Bank at the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority. Next slide, please. And today, basically, I'll be providing you with information on our loan programs available through our agency. The Government Development Bank and the Small Business Development Agency provides technical support, business counseling, and guidance to small businesses in our territory. In May of 2014, the Economic Development Bank was enacted by law to assume the 2 functions of these 2 entities. The Economic Development Bank provides loans to existing and startup businesses thereby creating and maintaining jobs in the territory, and is responsible for the credit administration of its loan program. So in a nutshell, prior to 2014, there were two, we were referred to as a government development bank and the Small Business Development Agency. And in 2014, the statute made there were changes to the statute that renamed our program the Economic Development Bank, and we provide financing to small and medium-sized businesses as well as startup and existing businesses, and we manage our entire loan portfolio. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. There are several loan programs that we administer under our agency. As you can see from this slide, we have our microcredit loan program. The maximum financing that we could provide under that program is $50,000. Our farmers and fishermen loan program, our maximum financing under this program is $50,000. And when I go through the other slides, I'll go more into details regarding the loan programs. Previous slide, please. The development loan program goes up to $500,000. Our Frederick loan program, maximum financing, $20,000. Our small business development loan program, maximum financing, $100,000. Our economic development administration loan program, $75,000. Our intermediary relending loan program, maximum financing, $100,000. And our state small business credit initiative program, we provide loan guarantees to participating lenders within the Virgin Islands. And all our programs are subject to funding availability. Next slide, please. The microcredit loan program, as I mentioned earlier, the direct financing that we could provide, a maximum actually is up to $50,000, and this is by statute. The maximum loan term under this program is 5 years. The interest rate is set at 5%. And there are several eligibilities under our program, and one of the eligibility under this program is either the applicant must be born in U.S. Virgin Islands or a citizen or legal permanent resident of the U.S. VI for at least 5 years preceding the application for a loan. Next slide, please. For our farmers and fishermen loan program, the maximum financing, and this is by statute that we can provide, is $50,000. The maximum loan term is 5 years. Our interest rate is set at 4%. And for you to be eligible, or farmer or a fisher to be eligible under this program, the individual must be engaged in commercial fishing or farming for at least 3 years in the US VI, and you must have the necessary licenses to engage in commercial fishing or farming. Next slide, please. Our development loan program, this is our largest loan program. Our loans, it goes at a minimum interest rate at $10,000, a minimum loan amount of $10,000, maximum loan amount of $500,000. In other words, we do not provide a $2,000 loan under this program. It starts at $10,000 and the maximum is $500,000. Our loan term cannot exceed 10 years, and the interest rate is based on a Wall Street Journal prime rate plus 1.5%. And for you and business to be eligible under this program, the applicant must provide proof that they were born in U.S. Virgin Islands or a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident and a resident of the Virgin Islands for at least 5 years preceding the application for a loan. And we do have some other criteria. The business must have less than 50 employees and cannot earn more than $5 million within a year. Next slide, please. Our Frederick loan program, this program is only for St. Croix, the island of St. Croix, and it is only for businesses that are established in the area of Frederickstead. So once your business address is Frederickstead, it could be as far as to the Department of Agriculture, all the way down to Northside. That is where we consider a district for this loan program. The maximum amount we could provide under this program is $20,000. The maximum loan term is 5 years, and the business cannot exceed annual sales of $300,000. The interest rate is based on the Wall Street Journal prime rate plus 1.5% over prime, and the owner, not the manager of the business, but the owner of that business must operate this business on a full-time basis. In other words, you cannot be gainfully employed elsewhere and be eligible under this program. And the individual must be, or the owner or owners of the business must be a resident of the Virgin Islands for at least 10 years preceding the application for a loan. Next slide, please. The Small Business Development Loan Program, our maximum loan amount is $100,000. The maximum loan term is 15 years. The interest rate under this program is based on the Wall Street Journal prime rate plus 1.5%. And we also have a residency requirement for this program, and the applicant must be born in a US VI, or his mother or father was born in a US VI, and he has been a bona fide continuous resident of the US VI for at least 5 years, or he has been a bona fide resident of the Virgin Islands for at least 10 years preceding the date of the application for a loan. Next slide, please. And as well, with our, similar to our Frederick said loan program, the owner, if there are more than one owner in the business, at least one of them must be active in the management or the operation of the business, and it must be that individual principal means of support. In other words, if there are 3 shareholders within the business, once you're receiving financing under this program, at least one of the shareholders must manage this business on a full-time basis, and it must also be their principal means of income. And the revenues for the business cannot exceed $3 million and cannot employ more than 50 persons. And all of what we're indicating here today, it is by statute. Next slide, please. Our Economic Development Administration, this program is federally funded, and the maximum loan amount is $75,000. The loan term cannot exceed 15 years, and it all depends on the type of collateral you're presenting that sets the loan term under this program. Our interest rate, regardless of how the interest rate exceeds the set policies, it cannot exceed 12%. And right now, where our interest rate is based on the Wall Street Journal prime rate plus 1.5%. So when you calculate those two, if at any point in time the interest rate calculated with the current rate plus what's set over prime exceeds 12%, that interest rate is set at the 12%. And the borrowers cannot employ more than 500 or less, and cannot extend, we cannot extend support to borrowers that have more than 750 employees, and this is a federal guideline. Next slide, please. Under our intermediary relending loan program, we also refer to this as our IRP, and this is also federally funded through USDA Rural Development. The maximum direct loan amount cannot exceed $100,000. The maximum loan term of 15 years. The gross sales cannot exceed $1 million annually. And the interest rate also is set by the Wall Street Journal prime rate plus 1.5%. Next slide, please. On this slide, we have listed few businesses that are eligible. They are arts and craft, tourism, technical, professionals, retail, restaurant, taxi operators, farmers and fishermen, laundromat, and any other business that the board may deem eligible. And that is, of course, in the best interest of the development of the Virgin Islands. So We've only listed few of the what you see mainly here on island or throughout the territory. Next slide, please. When submitting an application through our program, these are the standard requirements that we look for. For all our application, one must present a business plan, loan application, which is presented by us. Once we meet with the client, we provide the client a loan application checklist along with the application package based on how the business is registered. So with submitting your application, at the very least, we require a business plan, your loan application package, the last 3 years of your tax returns, if the business has been in existence 3 years or more. If the business is a startup, then they would provide us with 3 years of projections. And for however the funds will be utilized, you will provide us quotes to support the loan proceeds, your business license. However the business is registered, you provide us the corporate documents, and of course they must be current. And if you are operating in a lease space, we require a lease agreement, a current lease agreement. And if it is your intent, and if you're starting up to establish your business, you don't need to provide us with a executed lease. A letter of intent based on what you're negotiating with that landlord will suffice. And we do require collateral for our program, and it can be developed or undeveloped real estate. And the real estate could be in the name of the business or held personally, as well as acceptable business assets and even taxi medallion. To start your loan application with us, in order for us to consider the application eligible, one of the requirements is a bank denial letter, which means you must apply through a local bank. If you are rejected, meaning you're declined for your financing, that is where you can start your application process with us. So if you have not ventured to a bank to request financing, you must start your process there at a local bank before you can begin your process through the Economic Development Bank, as we are a secondary lender, meaning a lender of last resort. Next slide, please. And some of the ways you can use as a business person can use the funds. If there are needs to purchase inventory, supplies, working capital to cover operating expenses, meaning salaries, utilities, anything that is considered operating expenses for that business. If you're a farmer, livestock, machinery, equipment, for, again, either for a farmer or a fisherman. If you need transportation to and from market, furniture, fixtures, leasehold improvement to purchase business assets, even to expand the business. That could be expanding, not necessarily meaning inventory or maybe into another product line. It can also, business expansion for us if you're considering also, going, developing a website or promoting your business online. And any area that you consider to be startup expenses and debt restrictions and refinancing, and there are restrictions. Let's say, for example, you're a startup and you have utilized your personal credit card to purchase inventory or even provide any type of working capital to cover operating expenses. You can apply through us to pay out those credit cards not to exceed 12 months of operations. Next slide, please. Our application process. One of the things that we look at when you're applying through our program is your credit report. And credit is certainly crucial. And we do pull your credit report. And if, for example, there are concerns that are listed on the credit, those are things that we discuss with the client and provide an opportunity for you to address. And let's say, for example, there are concerns on your credit report. you may have a debt that is outstanding, we suggest that you contact that creditor to establish a repayment agreement on that debt. And so there's also an application fee of $150, and the application fee must be paid at the time you're submitting your application through our office. And if the loan is approved, there is a 1% fee, which we refer to as our commitment fee, that is charged at the time of loan closing. Next slide, please. There are some other agencies or organizations that we partner with, that the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, the Virgin Islands Energy Office, the Small Business Development Center, of course, the Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration, this is on the federal side, the Department of Agriculture, Housing Finance Authority, the federal side, again, the Small Business Administration, Rural Development, and the University of the Virgin Islands Cooperative Extension Services. Next slide, please. Our state's Small Business Credit Initiative program is a guarantee program. What we do under this program, we provide loan guarantees to the participating banks within the Virgin Islands. In 2010, under the Jobs Act, President Obama was successful in getting through with funding. And so there were $1.5 billion was approved to provide guarantees to small businesses. And every state and territory under the American flag received funding, and the Virgin Islands was awarded $13.1 million back in 2011. And this program allowed for us to provide loan guarantees to the banks within the territory. There were 3 types of programs that were approved: the Collateral Credit Program, our Payment Surety Performance Bond, and our Credit Guarantee Program. The banks, next slide, please. The banks that were approved for participation is the, next slide, please. The bank, the Merchants Bank, Oriental Bank, First Bank, and Banco Popular. For one to be eligible for this program, the applicant themselves have to apply to the bank. And if the bank is interested in providing that, that loan, they can reach out to the Virgin Islands Economic Development Bank for a loan guarantee, and we can provide a guarantee up to 50% of the shortfall. And they can use these monies for startup costs, working capital, business procurement, equipment, inventory, as well as the purchase, construction, renovations, or tenant improvement of an eligible place of business that is not for passive real estate investment. What that means is that a standard business can apply for financing through us. If you're into real estate, or you have a mall or a space for lease, you as a landlord is not eligible through this program. It is mainly for businesses that are operating day-to-day, that's providing a service. And the interest rate and the terms are set by the lender, that is whichever lender that you're approved through, whether it's First Bank, Bank of Syncro, which is now the Fidelity Bank, Oriental Bank, Banco Popular, or Merchants Commercial Bank. And the type of businesses that are eligible are sole proprietors, partnership, limited liability companies, and corporation. Go back to the previous slide, please. As I was mentioning before, under our programs, we cannot provide any amount of guarantee that exceeds 50%. For the payment surety and performance bond, which can guarantee an average of 30% of a performance or payment bond from a private surety company. This program provides a guarantee for small contractors to enable them to bid on larger projects. And I particularly wanted to go back to this slide because what we've find is that the banks have reached out to us for collateral and credit guarantee support, but we've not been able to provide any payment surety or performance bond. And so If you are a small contractor and there are projects out there that you have bidded on and there is a need for bond, please speak to your bank regarding bonding. And if the bank is interested in providing that line of credit, what they can do is reach out to us so that we can solidify the transaction, put a little more confidence to the bank to provide the loan, and EDA can come in with the guarantee of up to 30% on that transaction. Next slide, which will be your third slide. As I was mentioning before, in order to be eligible for this program, the applicant must apply through the participating bank. And these banks are Bank of Nova Scotia, which is now the Oriental Bank, Banco Popular, First Bank, and Merchants Commercial Bank. And if the loan is approved for the guarantee, then the transaction is between the Economic Development Bank and the participating lender. You as the applicant is the participating lender's client. So all your communication would be with either bank, and the bank would then communicate through the Economic Development Bank to finalize your transaction. And there's no need to submit a second application package or so forth. Whatever you submit to the bank is what we review and we accept. And if there's any additional information that we require, our request will be through the participating lender and not the lender's client. Next slide, please. And as I mentioned earlier, I am Monique Samuel, the Managing Director for the Economic Development Bank. There are two offices, one in St. Thomas, and our location is the 8000 Niski Shopping Center. And there are two staff on site, which is Ms. Charlene Gerard, our loan assistant, and Ms. Shatima Charleswell, loan energy assistant. Thank you for your time. Thank you for participating, and we will remain available to answer any questions or any further discussions that may be required.
Thank you, Ms. Monique Samuel. Well, you guys are free to put your questions in the chat, or if you raise your hand, we can call on you and you can unmute your mic and ask Ms. Samuel the question that you've been itching to get the answers to. She's been at the Economic Development Authority for quite some time, so if anybody knows the answer, I'm sure Ms. Samuel does. But while we're waiting, Ms. Samuel, in terms of applying for a loan, just in terms of eligibility, you say that a person needs to be a resident of the territory for at least 10 years? Oh, your mic is on mute.
Thank you. There are several programs, but long and short of it, our microcredit loan program requires that you be a resident of the Virgin Islands for at least 5 years preceding the date of the application for a loan. And all our other programs require that you be a resident of the Virgin Islands at least 10 years preceding the application for a loan. The microcredit loan program is set at the 5 years residency mark. Whereas if, for example, on any of our other programs, let's say, for example, you, the applicant or the principal of that company was not born in the Virgin Islands, but one of your parents were, we could then reduce that residency requirement from 10 years to 5 years. So all our programs have a residency requirement, with the exception of the State Small Business Credit Initiative program, because that program is based on the participating lenders program policy.
Okay, now you have some loans that are specific to the island of St. Croix, but in general, how do we know which loan we should apply for?
Well, once the applicant meets with us, we have that discussion with them. So it is based on the discussions that we've had with the client, based on what their need is, how they're going to utilize the monies, how the business is registered, and really where the business is located. So we internally make that determination. So usually what I honestly prefer is that the client contact us first before downloading our application online and beginning their process. It helps to help the client to actually, itemize or really line up what is required for applying through our program. And that is where we develop our loan application checklist. So in other words, you're not downloading or providing us information that's unnecessary. So once you meet with us, what we usually do is, well, go through your needs. And then once you, tell us what the funds will be used for, then we provide you a checklist, and that checklist is specifically to your requests.
I'm paraphrasing this question a little bit, but I need to know how much I can borrow for a warehouse. How do I know how much I can borrow from you guys?
It is your need. It is the client's need. The client is the best person to identify, their need. Let's say, for example, it all depends on what you're going to utilize that space for. Is it that you're going to utilize a space for wholesale products? So a warehouse may be ideal. So once you go into the warehouse space, you have your shell. Is it that they need plumbing, any electrical? Would you require shelving, leasehold improvement? So you're the one to identify how you want to utilize that space and the intent of that space, for the end use, once you're able to, to help you to open your doors to your customer. So you're the one to assist us in identifying what exactly what you would need. And also we utilize the services of the Small Business Development Center. Oftentimes that's where I refer our clients to the Small Business Development Center to provide that technical and managerial assistance from a one-on-one with a consultant.
Now,
we do most of that discussion, on the forefront when we're having the discussion with the client.
To help them identify exactly how much money they would need, that would come through their business plan. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. But before they even begin that business plan, that individual should have an idea of, what's their business, who their target client is going to be, what exactly what services or products would you be providing, and what would I need in order to get my door open to the public. So that in itself should assist them with identifying the amount of monies they need and what they would utilize those monies for.
And in that business plan, they identify the sources and the uses of those funds.
That's correct.
Okay, great. All right. And next question, what is the minimum credit score needed?
We do not look at credit scores. We look at the credit line by line, credit by credit, trade by trade. So, and at this time, we do not look at credit score. We look at your credit report, as we retrieve the information.
Okay, great. Now, if the applicant was born and raised in the VI and went to college on the mainland, but relocated back to the VI to create a business, do they have to wait 10 years to establish residency?
No, because their justification would be for the reason of relocating for educational purposes. So they would not need to wait for that the residency requirement as set forth by statute in order to be eligible.
All right, great, thank you. What were the interest rates?
We have 3 types of interest rate. All of our programs, with the exception of the Farmers and Fishermen Loan Program, which is set at 4%, our microcredit loan program, which is set at 5%. All our other loans are based on a Wall Street Journal prime rate plus 1.5%.
That's a pretty good interest rate.
It is.
Okay, can a small business apply for a loan from any of the EDB programs while receiving funds from federal programs?
Certainly. You would have to just justify exactly how those monies were used, whether you got those monies through the Paycheck Protection Program, I'm just using examples, or the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. You can still apply for a loan through us. It doesn't eliminate the you being able to apply for financing, because perhaps maybe what you receive through any other financing options would not have been or may not have been sufficient. Or you may be considering expanding or adding or doing something different to your business. So it doesn't preclude you from applying through our program.
Great. Next question. If an applicant has not established residency, but has lived on St. Thomas for 4 years, are there any loan programs for this situation?
Residency, I would assume because they have not filed their tax returns here, as well as they have not established legal residency here in the Virgin Islands, so they would not be eligible for our program.
Okay. What is the current Wall Street Journal prime rate?
The most recent I saw was 3.25.
Okay, so a loan with you guys gets carrying the Wall Street plus 1.5 would be
equate to 4.75.
It's pretty good interest rate.
It is.
Okay. Do you need a business license and an EIN number to apply?
Well, I don't want to speak for the federal side of it, but I would encourage a business person to apply for an EIN number. If you don't have it, it is not necessary, but you do need a business license to apply for any loans through our program.
Can they apply for the loan before their business license is approved and just not get it disbursed until after the loan is approved? I mean, until after the license is approved?
They can begin their process through us for us to begin reviewing their package, but for us to begin to process, to submit for a decision, no.
Okay. Gotta have that business license.
Certainly.
And question, can they apply for the loan today and expect to get approved next week?
Well, our board meets every 2 weeks. There's 2 forms of approval through our program. In-house, there is an internal credit committee. I sit on that committee as well. However, we only have the authority to approve loans up to $25,000. Greater than $25,000, that request is presented to our governing board, who makes that final decision. We present a recommendation, and the board makes that determination. Our board has been very good at meeting, having scheduled meetings every 2 weeks. And I cannot confirm or give any type of confirmation indicating that if you submit an application this week, it will be presented at our next board meeting. For us to present a request before our board, we must first by statute notify the public. These are public funds. And so we must place a public notification in our circulars, whether it be the newspapers, as well as whatever other means of social communication our office utilizes, to notify the general public that we will be having a meeting to present cases before our board. So more than likely that application will be seen or presented at our board within 30 days of once the application is determined to be a complete application. So unlike a personal loan where you may present an application, have a decision today, and the loan be funded tomorrow, this is a business transaction. And so it involves other areas, not only you presenting your package, you must give us sufficient time to review as well as analyze and present. And then once the loan is approved, we go through a closing process. That application must be presented to our legal counsel to prepare the closing documents. And we also conduct a background check on the principal or principals of the entity, as well as the entity or any affiliations the principals may have in any other entities. So that is not a 5-day or a 10-day turnaround.
All right, great, thank you. Now, next question. Can the loan proceeds be used to purchase a commercial property to run the business from, i.e. products or offer a service?
Yes.
That's a nice, easy answer. Are manufacturing plants covered by EDA?
Well, if the question is financing, yes, it all depends on the type of manufacturing. But manufacturers are eligible under our program.
So, next question. So taxes must be filed in the VI to get a loan?
Well, that's part of your residency. If you're a resident of the Virgin Islands, this is where you should file your revenues. If you're not filing your revenues here in the Virgin Islands, then you are not eligible through our program. That is one way we use to determine eligibility as well. It's just not submitting your identification. Your taxes could be a source of verification as well.
Great. Do all loans require a denial from a local bank before you can apply?
I would say most of our programs, and we look at the request case by case. If you're a fisher or a farmer, I normally accept that application directly. Depends on the amount and the purpose and the client as well. Some clients are bankable, and there are some farmers and fishermen directly is not bankable, so they can apply directly through us. But every other program, yes.
How many years of taxes are needed in the VI?
If your question is specific to our loan program, we require the last 3 years.
And if it's a startup business?
We look strictly at projections, 3 years of projections.
Are there common types of businesses that cannot apply for the loan programs?
Yes, bars, what we refer to as house of ill repute. If, let's say, for example, you have a school and that school is for all boys or all girls, things to that effect, it's not an eligible business. Casinos, real estate companies, landlords, that is not an eligible business under our program. Individuals with real estate, if you're leasing space for rent, that is not an eligible business through our program.
Okay. Now, is a bar restaurant eligible?
Yes.
Okay, but not just strictly bars.
Strictly the bar? No.
Okay. That's a lot of businesses are eligible then. Okay.
Yes, most businesses are.
Are there, let me see, what are the types of collateral needed for a loan?
We can look at real estate, developed or undeveloped. The real estate can be held by an individual or individuals, or it can be held by the company applying for the loan. Or let's say, for example, you have a family member or someone that's willing to pledge their real estate in place of the debt to secure the debt. That is also acceptable. We can look at business assets that are deemed acceptable, not like your inventory. If you're into retail, we can consider a percentage of the value of that. And if you're a taxi operator or even a medallion holder, we can accept the medallion as collateral.
Great. This question, what about remanufacturing home services here in the VI? I'm not sure what remanufacturing home services are, so.
Can you repeat that question, please? Is that a question in the chat?
Yeah. Money Ventures VI, can you clarify your question, please?
And she can also call me directly. She has my contact information.
It's pre-manufacturing. The spelling got cut off.
Oh. You mean prefab houses?
Yes. If say I own a warehouse that pre-manufactures homes in the territory itself. So where instead of you going to the States, buying houses up there and bring them here, we build them in-house.
We do not get so much involved into development of homes. On the end of the bank, they look at that as in some areas of the bank, to the extent of depending on how many homes are being constructed, it can fall under commercial, but we do not do anything residential. And if we do, that is an exception. 1 second, I'm playing this.
Yeah, it is. It is. It will be like a commercial setup where it's retail, basically, for the individual to then purchase.
That would be something that we'll have to seek authorization, but we really don't get involved in residential transaction to that extent. And if we do, that is something that we'll have to seek further authorization. But you can call me because you have my direct contact information.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can businesses receive an economic development bank loan and be applicable for EDC tax incentive programs?
Yes, you can. We have various type of programs under the EDA. And if you're applying as under the small business program for EDC, or even under any type of incentives or through our economic commission program, you are eligible to apply for financing through the EDB. And any of our programs, you are eligible to apply. But we still have to look at the purpose and the type of entity. But you are not restricted from not applying through our program.
Okay. Orchard D, I'm not sure what part to ignore, so can you ask your question, please? And while you
Yes, hi. I was asking, so if you don't have taxes filed because you made the like less than the standard amount to file, but you want to start your startup and have your 3-year projections in your business plan, would it be still possible to file, or you need some type of tax returns for that?
We can look at other things to determine your eligibility. So your tax return may not be the only document that you can submit for a residency requirement. Were you gainfully employed in the Virgin Islands during that time? You can get some type of we can utilize like certification. Do you have a lease, a landlord lease for where you reside? And things to that, we can look at that. Just presenting a driver's license is insufficient. And we also have an affidavit that you would complete.
Got it, okay.
My contact information is listed on the slide, and let me give my number again. It is the 340-773-6499. And once you call our office, you can ask for Monique directly, and it'll be transferred to my voicemail because we are working remotely. And I will get that voicemail directly here on my email, and I will call you back. And usually I do share my cell phone number, but I wouldn't share it in this medium. But if you call the SBDC, they will share my cell phone number with you. Once you call our office, they will provide that number to you.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much, Monique.
Certainly.
Okay. Direct loans do not require a denial from the bank first, do they?
Could you repeat your question or have the individual to ask directly?
Christian, can you ask your question directly, please?
Is it there in the chat?
Yes, it says direct loans do not require a denial from a bank first, do they? That's a question.
Yes, if I'm understanding his question clearly, the only program that we would overlook a denial letter is the Farmers and Fishermen Loan Program. Usually you find that the banks don't provide loans to the smaller farmers and fishermen. So every other loan program, yes. And we are a lender of last resort, so we're not, or we weren't established by statute to compete with the local banks.
Okay. What is one key advice you would like to give a small business owner if they are considering applying for an EDB loan?
Well, one of the things I do suggest, there are several things, honestly, I do suggest to a small business owner is do your research. If, for example, it's a new business you wanted to establish, do your research, verify to the market's demand. If it is something, how have you, what did you use to consider establishing this business or this idea? Excuse me a second. Or is it that, excuse me,
You guys have some good questions coming, so that's great. And as soon as Ms. Samuel comes back, we will continue with the questions.
my apologies, I hid my cell phone for myself and forgot to put it on vibrate. And so research and not just creating an idea because you have a hobby. There are, for example, some individuals wanting to go into the restaurant business because they cook well at home. And so everybody would ask, your food is good, when are you gonna open a restaurant and so forth? But you have not looked at the saturation or the other restaurants that are there. Is it that you need an actual location, or from time to time you could do maybe food sales every 2 weeks, or perhaps maybe do catering instead of actually going into a space? So I would say do your research, and once you have confirmed that is the business in which you want to establish, ensure that you also contact your bank to verify their process or whatever is required to establish that type of business. Know the requirements, know what is required annually of that type of business. Perhaps maybe scheduling an appointment with a small business development center. There are some businesses that let's say, for example, they want to establish a trade name, but you establish that trade name and don't know that every 2 years you are required to renew that trade name. So do your research, work with the Small Business Development Center. Look at, for example, if you're involved in that business, who will be your second in command or your right hand in the event you are not available, because a business should continue. Um, Understand when you're earning sales, not to reinvest 100% of your monies back into that business. Find a way to save, or what percentage of your revenues would you save, whether it be on a monthly or weekly basis. Work with it or identify or do some research in terms of a bookkeeper and accountant to assist you with your books, because that is a challenge that we see often too. You use your copybook or you use your receipt book, but there's no point of sale. There's no point of sale system in terms of an accounting system that you use to manage your business. And so you don't know your ins and you don't know your outs. You don't know whether the business is doing well or not. So altogether, do your research, identify the demands that the business, if there's a need for that business, and work with the Small Business Development Center, the consultants, to assist you along the way.
All right, good information. Okay, what are the common challenges, obstacles when applying for an EDB loan?
Financials, credit. What we oftentimes see is that for an existing business, sometimes they don't have a software system, a financial system to keep account of their sales or their expenses. They have it written, or they have a basic Excel sheet. So they don't know if the business is doing well. They can tell you their business is doing well, But some of the expenses that is standard for businesses, they're not current in, like, for example, their taxes. They make the monies, but they're not paying their fair share of taxes. When they do file, they sometimes rely on a bookkeeper to assist them with filing their tax return. The tax return is filed. They're more concerned with it being filed than forgetting about the other end of their obligation, paying their fair share of taxes. That at times is a challenge. So in other way, in altogether, their financials and most often as well is their credit report. Annually, you are allowed to obtain a free credit report, and I would suggest that you obtain a credit report annually so that you know what is on your credit instead of waiting until you apply for financing and there are surprises. So you altogether their financial statements and their credit report.
Great, great. Now, what are some of the common reasons a person is denied a loan?
We rarely don't deny loans, but if we do, it is mainly the state of the credit, their personal credit report, or at times they may have had a loan with us in the past and did not honor that obligation as they should.
Okay.
Or the business may not reflect that it's in a position to repay the debt or even handle or undertake any other financial obligations. But if before it comes to that, with the way we operate, we have internal controls, and we are the one that reviews your requests before it is presented to the governing board. So we have an opportunity to to have that discussion with you, our concerns, before we present it. So at times there are areas where we give you the time needed to address the concerns that we have before presenting. So if it's something that's beyond our control, yes, that would be a denial, but oftentimes we'll provide you the opportunity to address the concerns. So if there are issues on your credit report and we ask you either to provide a letter of explanation, we provide you with the areas of concerns on your credit and allow for you to contact those creditors to make a payment arrangement.
Great. Is there support once a loan is approved, like technical assistance?
Yes, we provide technical support to some extent. However, we utilize the Small Business Development Center to assist us with providing technical support. And we also have our incubator program manager that can provide some assistance as well. So if there are concerns, let's say, for example, we do approve a loan and from Jumpstart, there were some concerns throughout the processing of that application. One of their recommendation would be to refer the client to the Small Business Development Center for technical or managerial assistance. And we do provide that in a form of a letter, and you will take that to the Small Business Development Center. But prior to taking it to the Small Business Development Center, we will contact the office to have that discussion. And if, for example, you have an existing loan and there are challenges with meeting your monthly payment, we provide that type of technical assistance, either by reducing your monthly payments, whether it be for interest-only payments for a few months, or just reducing the payments based on what the financial statements demonstrate the business can afford or can support as a monthly payment. So we utilize three medium, either it be through our office directly, through the bank, which is the Economic Development Bank, our incubator program, or mainly the Small Business Development Center.
So your agency really is looking to help businesses to start and grow and maintain. You're not about giving a loan and then having them close and take all of their collateral.
Correct. They're not on their own throughout. We monitor our loan portfolio. So let's say, for example, our payments are due monthly, the first of every month. So when we don't get a payment by the 5th of the month, we're in immediate communication with that client. So it's just not a call for a payment. It is a call to, to find out exactly what's happening in the business, what's occurring. We also, we will also visit that place of business, to get more of a walkthrough to see what's happening, because sometimes they may not just have the inventory. So if there are areas where they're struggling to purchase inventory, what we do, we reduce our payment to the lowest to avoid the business from having some cash flow issues, so they can utilize more of or most of their monies instead of making payment on a loan to actually assist the business. So it's just not providing a loan and demanding a payment. We do provide the technical and managerial support needed throughout the life of the loan.
Okay. Well, and the SBDC is here for the life of the business, as long as they qualify as a small business. So at every step of the way, we would encourage folks to use our services, not just to start, not just to help you with your business plan, not just to help you get that loan, but for the life of the business from inception to your exit strategy.
That's correct.
All right. Are there regular site visits on an EDB schedule or based on red flags a business may have?
We do both, but mainly if there are concerns, ongoing concerns regarding that business. This is a small community, so there's not too many places, businesses that are established that is not within driving, your regular driving routes. So, and then there's social media, and there's so many things that we learn throughout the community. And too many of our clients would call us, some of our clients that either call us to let us know their challenges ahead of time, or again, it's based on that red flag if we do not receive that payment by the 5th of the month. So we do schedule site visits. We do come out to the business if needed.
Okay. Now, you said that loans are made based on funding availability. Can you expand on funding availability?
Yes. If, for example, you're applying for a loan of $500,000 and we do not have sufficient monies, that is what we refer to as subject to available funding.
Okay. So
our programs, Mary Jo, our funds revolve. We do not get annual appropriations. So as the clients repay their loans, all of the principal amount, the late fees, whatever fees we collect, as well as interest, is redeposited into our loan programs to assist the next business.
Okay, so it's a circle. So
Correct.
I need to pay you
program.
to pay your creditors so your creditors can pay me.
Yes.
All right. So we're all dependent on each other for the Economic Development Bank to work properly and for everybody in the community to be able to take advantage of those services. So that's a good deal. All right. Now, we've had a lot of questions, but we still have more time, folks. If you still have more questions, feel free to put them in, but let me give a little commercial because this is the second of 5 webinars in the VI Economic Development webinar series. Okay, and next week, which is the 5th of August, we're going to have the program on eligible supplier program. And that's so that local small businesses can provide services, products and services to economic development, to businesses that are receiving the Economic Development Commission benefits. So you hear about the businesses that get all of these special tax breaks and stuff like that. Well, this is a program designed to help local businesses get business from those companies. And then on the 19th, We have the economic development benefits for small businesses, because it's not just the big businesses that we are looking for to come into the community from outside of the Virgin Islands that we want to support. We also have a program for businesses within the community to take advantage of some of those tax benefits also. And then last but not least, on the 26th of August, we have the Enterprise Zone Commission, where we're going to talk about some benefits of opening businesses in areas that have been blighted and stuff like that. So now, do we have any more questions? Oh, yes, we have another question. Does the EDB apply for local funding from the VI legislature to replenish program funds?
We have not applied for any additional funding. What is our plans are to have a discussion with the Senate so that we can consolidate all of loan programs. So the programs that you saw here today or you heard about, our intent is to put through a request, which we've had a brief discussion with them, to consolidate the program, which puts us in a better position rather than to have multiple loan programs, multiple loan terms, interest rate, a set amount. And so we can have all our monies within one account. And then, we'll still have subject to funding availability, but that would help us greatly to have, our monies consolidated, have it in one place as opposed to multiple loan programs. So it would help us more or less to streamline our services and also assist the clients when they apply for funding through us. There are a lot of funding that is, that was approved. And so we are in discussion just to see what we're eligible for. One of the recent programs that was approved is the State Small Business Credit Initiative Program. That is round 2 of that program. So we have applied, we have sent through our notice of interest. So we are waiting on the second step of that. They are working on the policies for that program. That is a federal program. And recently we applied and was approved for defederalizing one of our federal funds, so that allows for us to have more control over those monies as opposed to federal restrictions. So that in itself would help us to increase our funding that we have within the bank to lend. And so what we normally would do, and that is why you see that the program requires a denial letter before applying through us, because we don't have the funding that's available to service our business community. And so we rely heavily on the banks, the local banks that is, or wherever other participating lender that provides financing to the territory to assist the small business community to provide us that balance. And the State Small Business Credit Initiative Program also provides us that balance as well. If the lender is not 100% comfortable with that financing, they can come through our program for 50% of the support on their loan. So in other words, they have our guarantee as well as the client's collateral.
All right, that's great. That SSBCI program gives us a lot of additional flexibility.
Yes.
Okay, what is the process for applying for a loan?
Well, first, as I mentioned, you must apply through your local bank, the bank that you're either banking with or the bank of your choice. And if you're not approved through that bank, then you can begin your process through us. Once you have the discussion with us, we're then in a position to prepare that loan application checklist, which is designed based on the discussions you've had with us and based on how your business is registered and how you intend on utilizing those monies. And with that loan application package, of course, we go to the residency requirement. If you also meet that residency requirement, that is another hurdle that the business must meet, as well as the type of business you're involved with. That is another criteria as well. Once those basic criteria are met, the denial letter, your residency requirement, and the business being deemed eligible, then we provide you with our loan application checklist as well as our loan application packet. And within that package, as I indicated throughout the presentation, it includes not only our loan application package, your corporate documents, whether it be just your trade name or strictly your business license, your identification, your tax returns if you've been in business for 3 years or more, or your projections, a business plan, and other basic documents that you really should have already. So it's a simple process, and we hold your hand through the process. You just don't submit your application, hear from us with a decision. No, that's not the way we operate. We work with a client from your date of contact. So you're in communication with us, basically with your discussion about what's your intent. We submit to you our loan application package. Once you submit that application package through us, it is reviewed prior to, then a discussion is held with you, and then we either let you know at that point in time whether or not the application is a move forward for a review, analysis, and presentation, whether to be to the internal loan committee or a governing board, or there are additional information that's required to move forward the application.
Okay, great. And right now, this is a online, well, the application, you upload those documents online, you have a Zoom meeting with the folks, telephone calls.
Well, normally I don't do a Zoom meeting. That meeting is done by, that discussion is held by telephone. There you can find our loan application package online, but I really prefer that the client call us rather than, because the application checklist that you find online is so general. It may not be specific to your entity or to what your intents are for the utilization of those monies. So we honestly prefer that you contact us and we prepare that application checklist for you. But again, you can find the application and other supporting documents that will come along with your package back to us. But a telephone call is preferable.
And that your contact information is in the chat, and it will also be on in the copy of the presentation. We're going to send out a PDF version of the PowerPoint presentation so everybody can have those slides so they can refer back to as they make their decision of when and how they're going to apply to the EDB for funding assistance.
Yes, and you'll send the updated one that reflects the changes
Yes,
with the participating lenders.
Okay, and let us see. All right. So did that answer your question about the application, Chris?
And you can also call me directly to have a one-on-one discussion, because you will find that some individuals on the call may not be comfortable with asking all of their questions. However, they can call our office and contact me directly, and we can have that discussion one-on-one.
Okay,
Because every business request is different to the other, and the way you manage or what you provide as a service or a product to the business community, you know, is different to the other business. So.
great. And it's a good thing to keep in mind is your business is different from your buddy's business. So
Correct.
just because he did it one way doesn't mean that you can do it the same way.
Correct.
Okay. So, all right. Okay. Any more questions? I like the lunch and learn. I hope you guys have been snacking on your lunches as we go through today's presentation. Ms. Monique doesn't get to eat on camera, but the rest of you guys can. All right. So if we, oh, if we don't have any additional questions right now, I want to thank Ms. Monique Samuel for her fabulous presentation and for having a ton of questions, a ton of answers to a ton of questions. And I want to thank you guys in the audience for joining us today on behalf of our state director at the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center, Mr. Ted Gutierrez, and the staff on St. Thomas and St. Croix, as well as the EDA staff. They've done a yeoman's job in putting together their presentations for this webinar series. And we appreciate all the time and effort they've put in terms of making this information available to the community. But remember, in the long run, it's your business and you're going to be the experts, and we're here to help you, and we want you to be in business as long as you want to be in business. So use our services. They are at no charge. You can advance to the next slide. Call us, email us, check us out on Facebook and the VISBDC along with the EDA. We're here to serve you guys. Thank you again for joining us, and do have a wonderful day.